Number 6. The Presidential Bunker. In the midst of the Black Lives Matter protests that erupted in the wake of George Floyd's tragic death, something interesting was revealed about an underground world beneath the White House. According to reports by BusinessInsider.com, on May 31st, then-President Donald Trump, along with First Lady Melania Trump and their son Barron, found themselves sheltered in an underground bunker known as the Presidential Emergency Operations Center, or PEOC. And while President Trump referred to his presence there as an inspection, multiple sources hinted that it was a precautionary move as the protests intensified in Washington, D.C. The PEOC, hidden beneath the White House's East Wing, has a fascinating history dating back to the early 1940s during World War II. At that time, President Franklin D. Roosevelt deemed it an absolute necessity due to concerns about potential German rocket attacks on the White House. Then, President Harry Truman expanded and reinforced the bunker, transforming it into the bomb shelter it is today. Described by former First Lady Laura Bush as a command center equipped with phones, televisions, and communications facilities, the PEOC played a pivotal role during emergencies. One of its most renowned uses was during the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks in 2001, when Laura Bush and senior White House staff sought refuge there. Even though President George W. Bush was in Florida at the time, Secret Service protocol mandated the immediate evacuation of family members to the bunker. Photos from the U.S. National Archives reveal other prominent figures as well, including Vice President Dick Cheney, Secretary of State Colin Powell, and National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice, also taking shelter in the bunker. The 9/11 attacks prompted calls for a more advanced and secure bunker. Initially, national security personnel had planned to evacuate the White House staff and the presidential family to a remote location in the event of a nuclear attack. However, the realities of escaping Washington while under attack became clear, as congested roads and risky helicopter escapes presented significant challenges. The idea for a new bunker under the White House's North Lawn took shape during the Obama administration in 2010. But of course, the project was shrouded in secrecy, with the General Services Administration concealing its true purpose by claiming it was replacing existing White House infrastructure. Subcontractors were even ordered to remain silent about the construction. The depth of this bunker remains a mystery, but experts suggest that it must be at least 1,000 feet underground to withstand the impact of the most powerful nuclear warheads in the U.S. arsenal. However, there are reports that the newest section of the bunker, designed as both a command center and living quarters, extends 5 stories below ground. It's also said to be complete with ample food and a self-contained air supply, and it's sealed off to prevent radiation infiltration during a nuclear attack. Subterranean tunnels provide an escape route for the president, their families, and staff, allowing them to evacuate the White House entirely if necessary. The secret underground area beneath the White House remains a mysterious and fascinating topic, giving us a peek into the secretive parts of how the president stays safe and ready for emergencies. Number 5. The Ghosts of the White House. According to WhiteHouseHistory.org, President Abraham Lincoln's wife held seances in the White House to communicate with her deceased son, Willie. In the face of death, individuals seek various means of coping with loss, often turning to organized religion or spirituality for solace. A significant transformation in mourning practices occurred during the 19th century, particularly with the Lincoln family, in the backdrop of the American Civil War and the rise of spiritualism. The American Civil War, which was waged from 1861 to 1865 over slavery, inflicted unprecedented death tolls, with roughly 750,000 American casualties. This far exceeded the combined losses of previous American wars, and the magnitude of this loss profoundly influenced how Americans grappled with death and mourning. Understanding the significance of a loved one's life and death is crucial for the grieving process. However, during the Civil War, unreliable or unavailable information about deaths hindered mourning, Survivors struggled to comprehend their losses, as noted by historian Drew Gilpin Faust. Spiritualism, centered on the belief that the deceased can communicate with the living, gained prominence in the mid-19th century, offering closure to grieving survivors. By 1897, over 8 million people in the United States and Europe embraced spiritualism, primarily from the middle and upper classes. Seances, where mediums claimed to communicate with the dead, became commonplace, providing solace in connection with departed relatives. Even Mary Todd Lincoln, the wife of President Abraham Lincoln, turned to spiritualism following her son Willie's death in 1862. She even hosted seances in the White House's Red Room, with President Lincoln attending some of them. These seances provided comfort, and Mary Todd Lincoln believed her son visited her in spirit during these sessions. The White House itself then became associated with spiritualism, as tales of Lincoln family ghosts began to circulate. Reports from people claiming to see the spirit of Abraham Lincoln in rooms like the Lincoln Bedroom and the Yellow Oval Room were numerous. And White House employee Jeremiah Jerry Smith contributed to these legends by recounting ghostly stories to reporters. In 1870, Mary Todd Lincoln secretly visited a self-proclaimed spirit photographer named William H. Mumler, resulting in the photograph of her with her late husband. This image and others depicting Lincoln as a spirit were widespread in the years following his assassination. These stories provided support to a grieving nation, symbolizing the idea that departed loved ones, like the father of the nation, continued to watch over their families from beyond. They also demonstrated that those who perished in the war could find solace despite their untimely deaths. While these White House ghost stories originated in the 19th century when spiritualism was at its peak, they've since faded in the 21st century as contemporary perceptions of death and mourning differed significantly. Nonetheless, during the Civil War, spiritualism served as a vital coping mechanism in a time when death was omnipresent, offering comfort to a nation that was scarred by loss. Number 4. Slavery in Washington, D.C. In a memorable speech at the 2016 Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia, First Lady Michelle Obama shared an emotional reflection on her family's experience in the United States. She emphasized the significant progress that had been made, while also addressing then-Republican nominee Donald Trump's promise to make America great again. Mrs. Obama's words left a lasting impression as she stated, "I wake up every morning in a house that was built by slaves." Her statement highlighted the historical context of the White House, making it a symbol of both the nation's accomplishments and its complex history. The White House, often referred to as the People's House, traces its origins to 1792 when construction began. And surprisingly, the labor force that contributed to its construction included enslaved individuals. While the Capitol's location was chosen in areas ceded by slave states Virginia and Maryland, laborers were initially intended to be imported from Europe. However, the recruitment efforts fell short, leading to the inclusion of African Americans, both enslaved and free, as the primary workforce responsible for building the White House. But that's not all. They also built the United States Capitol and other early government structures. Colin Williamson, a stonemason, even trained enslaved workers on site at the government's quarry in Virginia to supply the necessary raw materials for construction. Immigrants from various European nations, along with local white laborers and artisans from Maryland and Virginia, also participated in the construction efforts. This collaboration of diverse labor sources reflects the complex mosaic of America's history. Throughout its existence, the White House has undergone numerous renovations and changes. It endured significant damage during the War of 1812, underwent an expansion in 1902, and saw extensive reconstruction in the early 1950s. But it's important to note that these alterations occurred after the Civil War and the abolition of slavery in the U.S. Michelle Obama's speech reminds us that the White House, the residence of the country's first African-American presidential family during her husband Barack Obama's presidency, has deep historical roots that include the contribution of enslaved individuals. Her words encourage us to acknowledge the multifaceted history of the United States, where progress and challenges have intersected to shape the nation we know today. Were you aware that the White House was built by slaves? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel. Now, let's move on to number 3, the First Hive. Did you know that the White House produces its own honey? In 2016, Charlie Brantz, a seasoned carpenter and bee enthusiast, shared his unique journey as the official White House beekeeper. This unlikely combination of professions took him to the heart of the nation's capital, where he managed beehives on the south lawn of the White House, a place visited by thousands of people every year. Charlie's beekeeping adventure at the White House began in 2009, when he was asked to bring a beehive to the site as part of a green initiative. Initially, he didn't feel much pressure, but as attention to the project grew, so did his nerves. Managing a beehive in a location frequented by helicopters, presidential activities, and even a playful Portuguese water dog presented its challenges. However, Charlie's meticulous nature and dedication shone through. He coordinated with various agencies, from the National Park Service to the Secret Service, to ensure the success of the White House beehives. This venture required precision and error-free beekeeping, which was something he had to learn on the job. Over the years, Charlie became a vital figure in the beekeeping community, fostering a deeper understanding of bees and their importance. He emphasized the necessity of responsible beekeeping, including testing and treating for pests like mites. His efforts yielded impressive results, while the White House hive producing up to 200 pounds of honey annually, which was shared with wounded veterans, school children, and even dignitaries like the Pope. Charlie's journey showcased the significance of bees and beekeeping in urban areas, where the well-being of both bees and neighbors must be considered. And despite his retirement from full-time work, he continued to mentor beekeepers, stressing the importance of continuous learning and collaboration within the beekeeping community. As a symbol of the White House's commitment to sustainability and education, the beekeeping program thrived. It played a crucial role in conveying the message about the origin of food and the importance of healthy eating. Even though administrations changed, the kitchen garden, including the beehives, remained a part of the White House landscape. Charlie's innovative solutions, like a device for closing hive entrances and a ventilation box for hive maintenance, made his role as the White House beekeeper even more efficient. Throughout his time on the South Lawn, Charlie's dedication and expertise inspired beekeepers worldwide, showing that with meticulous care and a commitment to learning, bees could thrive even in the heart of the nation's capital. And today, his legacy continues to be a shining example of responsible beekeeping and the importance of bees in our environment. Number 2, FDRs Pool. The White House briefing room, where the press secretary addresses a swarm of reporters, holds an iconic status in American politics. Yet, what many might find surprising is that beneath the bustling room lies a hidden secret: a boarded-up swimming pool. This 50-foot-long pool, dating back to the 1930s, was originally constructed for President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who used it for daily swims as a form of exercise. The pool was a technological marvel of its time, featuring sterilization systems, underwater lighting, and the latest gadgets. Presidents Truman and Kennedy also made use of this aquatic amenity during their respective terms. However, in 1970, President Nixon, a bowling enthusiast, decided to drain the pool to create modern press offices. Prior to this renovation, there was no designated space for press briefings, and interviews were conducted in the hallways and working offices of the White House. Despite the pool being void of water, it remains hidden beneath the briefing room's floorboards. For years, it was accessible through a trapdoor near the podium, adding an element of intrigue to the location. A more convenient and discreet staircase was installed in 2006, maintaining the pool's covert presence. Over time, this former aquatic retreat has served various purposes, housing communication equipment for the press room above. But today it's filled with modern computer servers, and yet it still carries the faint scent of chlorine, preserving a piece of its fascinating history. In the heart of the White House, the press briefing room conceals a remarkable relic of the past. A pool that once hosted presidents in their daily swims, now silently supporting the flow of information in the digital age. And at number 1, Harry S. Truman Bowling Alley. Nestled within the White House's storied halls is a bit of a surprise. The Harry S. Truman Bowling Alley. Surprisingly, this unassuming bowling alley tucked away at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue sees an astonishing number of visitors. In January of 2023 alone, 1,100 people had the opportunity to bowl there, as indicated by the latest White House visitor log. And in December, there were even more visitors, with an impressive 1,425 guests trying their hand at the presidential game. That averages out to a whopping 45 people per day enjoying some rounds of bowling. While the number of bowling enthusiasts visiting this secret spot constitutes only a fraction of the White House's total foot traffic, it's clear that the Biden administration has a soft spot for this sport. For context, during the entire year of 2014, just 759 visitors graced the bowling alley, according to archived logs from the Obama administration. The surge in popularity of the bowling alley can be attributed largely to pent-up demand caused by COVID-19 restrictions. Staffers for the first 18 months of the administration lacked the opportunity to host traditional White House events or receptions. However, with restrictions easing, they're eager to showcase their workplace and entertain friends and family. Securing a slot at the bowling alley is no easy feat, with reservations opening up a month in advance. Staffers have the liberty to utilize the space for both professional and personal events, ranging from team-building activities to hosting birthday parties for their kids or simply hanging out with friends. One White House employee explained how staffers cherish the chance to share this unique piece of the White House with their loved ones. And with slots filling up rapidly, it adds to the excitement when someone secures a booking. Moreover, the Biden White House has used the bowling alley for soft diplomacy, frequently inviting lawmakers for bowling sessions. At least 16 House members and 1 senator have participated this year, along with around 450 Hill staffers. The administration has also extended invites to outside groups visiting the White House for official events, considering the lanes a means to strengthen relationships with key stakeholders. Occasionally, celebrities make an appearance as well, with actors Sophia Bush and Bradley Whitford spotted at the bowling alley during the White House Correspondents' Dinner weekend. The space, however, isn't particularly extravagant. It's located in a basement with low ceilings, fluorescent lightings, and just 2 lanes dating back to the 1940s that could use an update. Despite its limitations, though, it's the exclusivity that makes it a hot ticket. As one former Biden administration official put it, it's cool because it's exclusive, but the bowling alley really isn't modern. If you were elected President of the United States, what rooms and amenities would you add to the White House during your term? Let us know what you think in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.